No, well, namaskar, blessed love. This is a completely normal introduction vlog in what you can maybe call the worst ever YouTube channel from the worst ever social phenomenologist, which is me, aka chaba-baba, or the worst baba also ever. And what kind of baba would I be if I not offer any practical solution for any real problems? And what kind of phenomenologist would I be if I have never even published nothing of my researches? There is nothing to make it more beautiful. Anything what I would say, it would just be a lie. What I can say that I'm probably the best street therapist I know, what is actually uh, a shame, because then it's kind of like a mental prostitution uh, for free. If I do it for free, then it's just not giving any effect. And as my teacher, Dr. Andrew Feldmar, also said, if he would do it what he's doing for free, then he would have to be uh, uh, apply to be holy very shortly, because he would just die in it and not would be able to sustain himself probably. Anyway, but yeah, my research is was based also on his teaching that he once said, maybe accidentally, but I think it took it very seriously, that the best way to, or one of the most sufficient way to research one community is to research how they treat their crazy ones or the fools. So my research was basically that if I found an experience possibility, then I put myself through it. So I did not want to make any experiment with nobody else, because it could have been negative. But I took a lot of experience on myself, and in the meanwhile, when I had the mental capabilities, I provided my attention to the people's problems, which in some way, or some people would say, maybe never ever changing. People thousands and hundreds of years ago would have had the same similar problems, just in different mm, uh, setting, or with different side dishes, as they will have. Maybe in the next 50 years we will have such a huge change that from that point on it's impossible to judge how would it be. People's problems hundreds and thousands of years from here. That's why for me it's very interesting that we were born in this era and this time, exactly just on the dawn of the technological singularity, or whatever we would call it, which happened in the next 40, 50 years, if we are not destroying the earth completely, as some futurologists or scientists would say. This Yudkowsky and friends. Anyway, yeah, so putting myself through the experiences, which what some people will define as addiction to hashish. This is very massively. I think there was some time in my life when, like Sherlock Holmes, just not on cocaine and heroin, but when there was no case, I was just massively zoned and spaced out on a way that, in that way I'm very thankful for this hashish culture, that it was always there. But It's good just only for waiting out all these depressive parts of or periods if someone feels that it's for some reason very necessary to wait with self manifesting or whatever. Mm, yeah, but, or otherwise it's just a waste of time. Uh, but also in some cultures that is a way of meditation, also practice practicing with the cannabis intake. Uh, it- yeah, anyway, in this part of the world, it would definitely be diagnosed as hashish psychos and addiction also. That way, it's nice to work myself out of it because then mm, I can relate to different people who are in different periods of life, experiencing different periods of use, abuse, or addiction also, and probably it differs for everybody differently. And other people are differently susceptible. I'm very sensitive for uh, all these substances and for life also. Now, what I'm learning is so how to take emotions and feelings not that seriously, just like thoughts I can entertain different kind of feelings, but in the past I really like to be convinced that it's out of my control. So if the emotions come, then I could be just happy or very lethargic for extended for longer periods of times also. And for me it just seemed to be natural that I have to experience all this tired soul things. But that was for me very interesting. What is the soul? Some people call it this too gay or whatever for them, but for me it was very interesting to do all my researches and to educate myself about how other people in other cultures and traditions were also exploring the mind and the soul and how they were able to describe it also, because that is completely other thing if you have an experience about something, especially if it's something so imaginary like God or the mind or whatever introspective sciences, probably tensions and relaxations around the body also. Everybody is experiencing differently or have different methods for releasing it, if it's tension, or how to tighten it if it's something is to relax, and how to experience is different kind of body states, how to be in tension and do some exercises or stretches to then experience what is the tense state, and then compared to that what is the um, relaxed state also. So then there is a whole variety. mm, yeah, so I did not make any mm, notes or any kind of interviews uh, with the Freedom Harbor community. For me, it seemed like it's a quite illiterate uh, community, and it's not really focusing on any kind of in how I want to put it. So when I would say that what I've experienced, that I've seen, that it's more of mm, contemporary in a way that it's in the moment manifesting, and then there is a narrative bar. Everyone can have different kind of narrative, and everybody is feel. Everybody, of course, has the right to not to say something what makes sense, or to hold on to any kind of information, or to be terrified, maybe in some cases, that any kind of information could be used or abused against anybody. So in that way, all this mm, cannabis culture has a very huge impact on it, because then, well, for many people, maybe is attractive because of the accessible cannabis culture, or for many people it just became completely normal of the lifestyle, that smoking cannabis is just normal to maintain the habit, or the or for some, like for sadhus in India. Yeah, in that's why I have to use a metaphor from a completely different other culture, because some sadhus on doing the eightfold party yoga and smoking cannabis, they can survive just without having anything. Here is different, because some people have these artificial digital caves where they maintain their liberty in a house or apartment setting, or in a floating vessel like a boat or something, and otherwise there is always a possibility for getting stoned and smoking, and in that way escaping for whatever unnecessary or annoying or negative feeling, sensation, thought, emotion, or anything, with only that one practice. Mm, Many people learn to cooperate with whatever uh, difficulties they face in life. Okay, yeah, uh, there is one more thing. Maybe by the end it got a little bit more chaotic. Mm, so I see into my mind for free. Ha 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 ha. Yeah, there was one more thing, which is something about, yeah, tell me, what was it me? What was it not me? Even if it was not me, I'm the reason for anything. So probably what did I do wrong, or what could I do it better, or even worse, tell it to me on the comment sections. Do not be too, what is that called, smooth. Yeah, with the quantum ashram and the floating temples, I think we did all the mistakes. There is no shame in that way. It was a very great experience for me in the last 5 years, because the environment and all this freedom harbor in some way is has so bad reputation that I did not have her too afraid of what if I would have a bad reputation, because I figured that anywhere I go, if I mention it, then I already have a bad reputation, so much that if some, then it does not even matter anything what I say, because then I would just be a pirate from a pirate harbor, and maybe some people would just think that all pirates cheat and steal and do all these bad things. So then just disregard whatever communication attempt is coming from that direction. So in that way, we had the freedom to do all the mistakes. And compared to that, uh, we had very good experience. Very hard, lot of work. We learned a lot. If we would have not made any mistakes, then we have maybe not learned anything. We would have just been doing what we already knew. Mm, but yeah, we maintained this floating meditation center. Mm, it got a little bit privatized and decapitated, or what is that, evicted by governmental services at the end. Mm, so, yeah, all respect for Honorable Ashram Builder also in that way of participating. Maybe was a little stressful also to have that 20 policemen on board and 10 other also standing next to it. But all the situations was handled in place. Mm. Yeah, anyway, lot of experiences. Most of them I have no memories, just mindset specific memories. For example, how traumatizing it could be when you see the laser pointer of some police guns and the reflector from a police boat in the middle of the night, and we not even care about it because there is two guests in the uh, entrance of the office, and they are still affected big time by the pirate psychosis, which is this, "Ah, I'm a pirate, whatever, I have a bottle of booze and going for festival kind of mind state." And just possible to get stuck in it maybe for uh, lot, hopefully not for eternally, but some people can develop a lifestyle out of it, obviously. Yeah, they're just sitting there at the entrance in a heavily illuminated mine state. So, what to do? Yeah, there is the police is looking for someone missing millions from the harbor on the other side. Yeah, that was in the beginning of the corona crisis when someone was allegedly hiding a couple of millions of kronas on their boat in the fancy harbor, and then at some point it got missing, so then this police was searching it. As we heard about it the next day while we were very drunk, so it was nice that they did not disturb with all these guns and laser pointers on the floating office in it. Yeah, you're welcome. It was a nice, good night story. Whenever you are watching this, support me on Patreon, listen to me on Mixcloud. Uh, I made one mixtape some time ago. I'm working on being able to have a so steady circumstances. I feel relaxed enough that I would be able to create something. Otherwise, I'm just demonstrating, one person demonstrator with even a tiny speaker. Maybe I will receive a bigger speaker, but then I go outside and I play conscious reggae music for donations and give anyone therapy uh, for donations, but that I already do now for money. I'm not going to get into nobody's bullshit or craziness or perspective or life uh, without without they appreciating what I'm doing, or then I can support uh, running and starting up this organization as it's supposed to be running. Now maybe I will get a fine, but then I can. If I have no idea because it was all this Babylonian is so complicated for me. Maybe I can do some research about if I did not have any income, then I have to probably state that it was zero for taxation purpose and all these things. Mm, yeah, it will come. Otherwise, I cannot be bothered about nothing besides looking for my wife or waiting for my life also for look for me. Uh, because without a wife, life is very unmotivating just to keep on going from a day by day basis. Even consciously, I can convince myself that I know what I'm supposed to be doing, and if I do not know, then I'm usually not doing something. Uh, and yeah, if something is very stupid, then of course I'm not doing it. I was just very yes man for a long time, so now it's important for me to also learn how to say no personally. Na, ez was kicsit már bezveze volt itt a végére, de áldás békesség, blessed love, Maha Namaskaram, Om Brahmanandam, a Brahmanandam küldöm mindenkinek, aki szereti, és ja, tiszteletem a tekintetes uraságoknak, meg hölgyeményeknek. Chaba-baba out. Szeretés.